Welcome, Moneyacs, to the first ever edition of the Money Mailbag. I am your host, Dr. Money, or as my girlfriend likes to call me, Hey Asshole. The Money Mailbag is a new audio feature here on the blog where you send in your questions and I answer them. The questions can be about whatever you like. Since we mostly cover wrestling here on the blog, I expect most of the questions to be about that. But I also am a Major League Baseball fan, NFL fan, and UFC fan. So if you got questions about any of those three, send them on in. I also watch a lot of television shows, and I love movies. So if you got a question about any of that, send it on in. Send in your questions for the next installment of the Money Mailbag to my email address, drmoney83@aol.com. Leave them on my Facebook page, tweet them to me, or send them to my FormSpring account. Just make a note that it's for the Money Mailbag, and I'll answer them. Now, what we're going to do here is I'm going to get the questions that I got for the first installment, and I'm going to answer them. I have not looked at the questions yet, so this is going to be the first time I'm going to be seeing them as I answer them. I think we got about 5 or 6 questions, so that should be a good start for the first ever Money Mailbag. So let's give it a try here and see what the first question is. Alright, let's scroll down here. The first one came in by a reader by the name of Paul. He dropped it on my Facebook page. And Paul asked, outside of Rocky, what are your top 3 films? Good question to start. Well, as you all know, that I'm probably a little over on the rockiness, you know. I'm looking for a good word here. You guys got to bear with me for a minute. I'm still new at this whole audio thing, so the words are going to come to me when they come to me. Obsessive, that's the word I'm looking for. Thank you, brain. I might be a little obsessive when it comes to Rocky, but, you know, that is my favorite movie. Over on the blog back a while ago, I had just listed my top 25 movies of all time, and in the number 1 spot is The Dark Knight. That is my favorite movie of all time. That is also, in my opinion, you can argue with me as much as you want to, but that is the best movie I have ever seen. Heath Ledger's performance in that was absolutely legendary. It's a shame that he passed away, that he did not get a chance to reprise his role, and I'm absolutely glad that Christopher Nolan has decided to not bring back the Joker in the 3rd Batman movie, because I don't know where you go from there. How could anybody ever live up to the shoes of Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight? So that would be one movie. My second non-Rocky favorite is a comedy, Superbad. I have never laughed so hard in a movie theater in my life. Yeah, that was really funny. I actually missed many of the jokes in the movie because I was too busy laughing at the previous ones to miss it. One of my favorite parts of the movie is when Jules, the girl that Jonah Hill's character, I can never remember what his name is because he's named after Seth, I believe, because Seth Rogen wrote the movie and names characters after him himself. I always get that confused. He agrees to buy liquor for her party, so Jules says, hey, you know, if you scratch my back, we'll scratch yours. And then I'm sorry, Seth goes, well, funny thing about that, Jules, is my back is located on my cock. That was pretty funny. My third movie is a children's movie, but when I was a young kid, I must have seen this movie about 1,000 times, and I was actually sad that I actually cried when they took this off of HBO and they stopped running it. Home Alone, the original, absolute classic. I look forward to Christmas every year that I get to watch that again. I mean, I have it on DVD, so nothing's gonna. I mean, I can really watch it today, but you know, you're kind of weird if you're watching Home Alone in September. You know, wait for the holidays. Other movies that I really enjoy. I'll run down the rest of my top 10 non-Rocky movies. Saw the original. I'm actually pumped for the last Saw 7. I liked them all except for the 3rd one. Terminator 2 was great. 40-Year-Old Virgin. Copland starring Sylvester Stallone. Yeah, I know. I'm a Stallone mark. What can you say? Major League, and Goodfellas. And then throw in A Christmas Story there because that's another great movie. So good question, Paul. Send in another question whenever you'd like. So now the next couple of questions are in via email. So let's see what they are. Alright, let me bring this up here. Just bear with me for a minute, guys. Alright, Chris asks, he goes, did I watch WCW and ECW? And the answer to that question is, I watched WCW Saturday night because it was on unopposed by any other wrestling at the time, but as far as Nitro or pay-per-views, I didn't really see them that many. Nitro because I'm a bigger WWF fan, so when Nitro was on, I obviously watched Raw, even during the NWO days and when Vince was parading cartoon characters on Raw. I did watch a lot more of ECW because ECW was on late at night, and I'm a night owl still to this day. I have trouble going to bed before 1:30, and especially on the weekend, so that's when ECW was on, and I watched it. Chris also wants to know what my thoughts are on and Raven's stables in each. I wasn't really a big fan of the Raven stable in WCW. I didn't really see much of it, and if I did tape Nitro, I usually skipped over that. In ECW, some of the stuff they did was crazy. When Tommy Dreamer was involved with the whole Beulah pregnancy angle. I always thought Raven was the better worker than he got credit for in WWF. But as far as the stables are concerned, I really can't comment on that. I wish I had a better answer for you. Then he asked if I ever got a chance to see Scotty Riggs in WCW. Of course I did. American males, American males. I'll stop singing now, sorry. / Scotty Anton in ECW. He said that he's heard that he's trying to make a comeback in TNA or WWE. He wants to know what my thoughts are on him. My thoughts are is that I never thought he was that good of a wrestler to begin with. So I don't know what he would offer to WWE. I doubt WWE would sign him or even look at him. You never know what TNA has on their mind with bringing in guys that have a name from the past. So, that's that. I'm sorry I couldn't be a little bit better with your questions. A lot of WCW, ECW things I'm not going to be as and have a general knowledge. I have a general knowledge. I've seen some stuff, but I've always been a bigger WWF fan. I've never really missed any WWF time from the time that I was like 5 years old. I did get a little disenchanted with the product in 93, 94 when they were pushing Lex Luger as the top guy. But other than that, I've been a diehard WWF fan, and I've mostly watched WWF. Like I said, I've seen some WCW. I've seen more ECW. But in order to give you a better answer than what I was able to give, it's going to be hard for me on those two subjects. But, the big angles like the NWO, guys like RVD, obviously they're more famous. I know more about them. But it is what it is. Sorry, Chris. Thank you for sending in your question. Send in another one for the next installment. Maybe I'll be able to answer that one better. And actually, our last set of questions is from, I don't know who it's from, but she sends in 3, and this is going to wrap up the Money Mailbag. So, let's see what we got here. All I know is it's a female. Alright, let's see what we do here. Alright, she says, we all know The Undertaker is going to retire sooner than later, so he probably has 1 or 2 WrestleManias left. Do you think the streak will remain undefeated? Yes, I absolutely do believe that the streak will remain intact. I think at this point, it's just one of those things that have gone on, and why break it? A guy like a John Morrison or a Daniel Bryan or even The Miz, a guy like that could use the rub but I think the streak has been going on so long now, and it's such a selling point for WrestleMania to let the Undertaker have that to retire as the only man undefeated at WrestleMania. I mean, he deserves it. So if I personally wouldn't touch it. All right, next question. Some people have called The Miz Jericho Light or Mini Jericho. Do they have a point, or are they just overdoing things? I have to be honest with you. I have never heard that. Um, I guess their hairstyles are kind of similar. Um, They're both excellent talkers on the mic. They're both great heels. Jericho is a much better wrestler than The Miz, although The Miz can hold his own. Um, if The Miz is being called Jericho Light, that is a compliment to The Miz, and it only means that we can expect great things from The Miz. But other than that, I haven't heard that, so that's interesting that somebody has heard that. Okay, next, the final question of the Money Mailbag. Sorry, guys, I'm kind of rushing through these. I promise I'm going to be better next time. You know, this is a work in progress here. And I got to get more comfortable reading questions, answering questions. And the only way to do that is if you keep sending in the questions. So, you know, with time we'll get better, you know. All right, last question is CM Punk. He has been underused on SmackDown lately. That is an understatement. She says, I think he can do a lot better than they let him. If Punk get back into the main event, who would you want him to feud with? That's interesting. Who would I want to see CM Punk feud with? I would love to see CM Punk have a championship feud. Let's see. His matches with John Morrison on ECW back in a few years ago were really good. They had a lot of mid 2-star to upper 3-star, or the potential to hit that back in 2007. So now in 2010, 2011, if you can get those two on the same brand, I think that would be a great feud. I mean, Punk's already a main event level competitor. It would definitely bump up Morrison, and they would have great matches. I think a proper feud between The Undertaker and CM Punk would do really well. The Undertaker's pretty much jobbed out Punk every time they've wrestled, or that brief feud that they had back around this time last year. So if they had a proper feud where Punk was given some wins, I would love to see that. And the obvious one staring everybody right in the face is Daniel Bryan. Two of Ring of Honor's glory boys in the WWE now. Two of the best technical wrestlers, whatever you want to call it. That would be a great feud. You know, put on 4-star caliber matches in their sleep. So, those are 3 guys right off the top of my head that I would love to see them work with, CM Punk work with. I think Randy Orton would be another great feud for him. Orton as the silent assassin babyface, Punk as the big mouth preacher type. If Christian was still, Christian's still in WWE, but if he was healthy, that's another great feud for him. Although that would sadly probably be a mid-card feud, because I don't know why the reluctance to push Christian, but that's what it is. So those are 5 guys that right off the top of my head I would love to see CM Punk feud with. I absolutely think, though, after the Undertaker's going to win the belt at Hell in a Cell, and once they blew off the Kane angle, I think Punk should be next in line. He'd be a great feud for the Undertaker. It's actually from Kate, so those were Kate's questions. Okay, well, that's it, Moneyacks. I hope you enjoyed the first edition of the Money Mailbag. Like I said, keep sending in those questions. Email, Formspring, Twitter, Facebook. Just send them in. The more questions you send in, the more editions of the Money Mailbag you send in, the better I'm going to get at this, the better it's going to be for all of you. So until next time, this is Dr. Money, and have a good day, guys.